Welcome everyone to Kirby and the Forgotten Lands. Today we're going to get frostbite.
Entering World 4, a snowy place, winter horns.
Yep.
It's a nice little environment, this. So we've went through a bunch of locations in the game have sort of been based on, traditional environment. Oh, okay, never mind, first this.
Yeah. I kind of forgot to do the boss thing.
Right, the missions.
The last mission. The last mission.
I think Chloraline's when I started really taking doing the missions for her. So around halfway the game is when I started really taking note of like the sort of dodge maneuver. That's when I started using it a bunch more, I think. But yeah, so we got that down. Coolio, awesome.
I think I started doing the boss missions as early as the first boss.
No, I started doing the boss missions as early as possible, but learning how to like do the perfect dodge is what I mean. Because that helps with doing Chloraline, I think, quite a bit.
Yeah, I think at that point you have to be like aware that this is how the dodge works. At that point you're like really comfortable with how the game controls.
Yeah, absolutely. But but yeah, as I was saying, with the locations we've been to throughout the game so far, and there's a sort of a theme with the game in a sense, is that we've had basically, the sort of the traditional, for the most part, sort of the traditional themings. We've had a sort of a grassland at the beginning, a beach. The carnival is obviously a bit of more standout, but now we've got this winter area, but it's in this sort of like, this Victorian-esque city as well. All the environments have had a bit of civilization thrown in, so it's like the beginnings are run over sort of more modern sort of city. The beach was sort of like power electrical power plants and such resorts. And here we've got this place.
Yeah, this place just looks frozen over. Compared to everything else.
Yeah, it is cold.
Yeah.
It's at well, it's not at this point anything, but they showed there's quite a few things about the game they showed off before they released it, didn't they? We knew about most of the worlds, including sort of this one, I think.
I'm only really familiar with like I think like that teaser image, I think, of like Kirby just walking out into the new area.
All right.
I think that's like the only one that I've seen. I'm not entirely sure like what they showed off early on.
It's not so much early on as it is like throughout the trailers and such. We besides like it's surprising, I think, sometimes when you look at trailers going, oh yeah, they showed this off already.
Yeah.
Something about this world I think we'll see throughout is it's got quite a few gnarly secrets actually.
Oh really?
Yeah, quite a few like that. Like that little, alley area might be more simple side, but it's just a taste of things to come. Also, after we've, it's right here after those, yeah. That this is, I think I was referring to, I've referred to in the past about a vending machine. No, it's not this one. Okay, I know where it is. I am thinking of.
Where in the game is this vending machine?
Well, you see how you've got a lot of ammo right there. I've referred to a few times that it barely matters throughout most of the game, but there is a certain, I think one section in particular where the vending machine ammo actually comes into play a bit. It's not here, but it looks similar to an area I was thinking of, so we'll leave it at that for now.
Maybe it was a treasure road
It will.
or something.
Don't think it. No, it wasn't a
Maybe.
treasure road. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I thought I'd just give out like an idea or something.
Yeah, I think it might be something much later now that I'm thinking of it. Or maybe it comes up just later in the level, we'll see.
Ah. So yeah. One thing that I want to bring up is actually the commercials for this game. Well, there's less commercials like when you compare the advertisement for Forgotten Land to like previous Kirby games. It is a lot more on brand, I would say, for Kirby. Like
On brand.
in fact, yeah, because the only commercials that I've seen are like they're like online commercials where Kirby uses mouthful mode on a particular item and they do something silly with it with another with like a Waddle Dee in the area. Like one that I remember is that Kirby uses mouthful mode on the light bulb and like starts to light up the light bulb, but has like a shoot. It has like a trouble putting on the light or something. That is a far cry from like previous ones, like the original Kirby commercial.
I don't think I've seen these.
Superstar.
I don't think I've seen these commercials.
Yeah, you can find them online pretty easily. It's just that they're all like internet ads, you know, and they don't really do a whole lot. There's not a lot of personality. That's something that I kind of don't like about like modern game ads, because they don't really have that kind of personality to them.
The wacky crazy crap that they used to have.
Yeah, like going back again to the original Kirby's commercials, maybe even Superstar Ultra in particular. I remember that one a lot, and I'm sure a lot of people remember that one as well. Where like he just where the narrator just spouts out a bunch of stuff that Kirby can do, a lot of the powers, and ending it off with super tough pink puff.
I don't think
there's like other commercials that are just as crazy.
Us in like the UK, I don't think got adverts quite like you lot get over in your country and such.
Oh no.
In like America
you guys,
or
Japan.
I think
you guys like. I think you guys got like. This is probably like off of context of like Kirby, but I remember you guys had like I think it was the UK where the commercial for the Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks was like a guy using the subway, and he like sees like the like images in the windows of like the game elements, and then finds himself in Hyrule.
Huh.
Like I think you guys have that commercial.
Maybe.
Because I actually don't remember.
I guess I just don't
Spirit
don't
Tracks
see it much. I guess
in the US.
maybe. Guess I don't really see much like game commercials on TV, but I don't watch much regular TV nowadays.
If
I
game
can
commercials are going to happen, it's going to be on a children's network.
Well,
that's just
depends here or there. If I can quickly comment on the section, by the way, with the sort of moving, the moving slanting sort of platforms, it can leave some fun interactions for some abilities. Like with Bomb, obviously, all the bombs are going to be rolling, as the as the platform teeters. But Ice as well has a lot of when you use the freezing sort of aura, like the freeze attack, you'll slide about on that as well.
Oh really?
It's fun seeing sometimes how because that's something I think when I've recently because just to give you an idea when this was recorded, the Return to Dreamland Deluxe came out on the Switch like almost a month ago now, probably.
Yeah.
It's been it's been out for a while. I was playing through that, and I playing with copy abilities and such. Then I was also thinking about like the evolution of copy abilities in general, especially with how like the new abilities introduced in the in that remake sort of work and such. I thought about like what were old Kirby copy abilities like? And turns out, obviously a lot of them were single use, but they had very specific sort of like fun level interactions. So like you'd be
Cool.
you'd be using wheel to go down sort of a race design course, but there was also like you had like the ability laser, and you'd have like the diagonals, because that can ricochet off sort of diagonal slopes, and there'd be a load of set pieces designed for that. I feel like the way sort of copy abilities and set pieces around them are designed in modern Kirby is quite a bit different than they used to be. But we have things like mouthful modes and such, where they have their own segments built around them instead, don't we?
Oh yeah, like from what I remember, mainly in Adventure. I don't think. I mean, in Adventure you
Absolutely
have that like one odd level.
That's the one I'm thinking about mostly, yeah.
In Adventure you'll have that one odd level for wheel, but for the most part I don't think they're really. Oh, and light. But I don't really think there's.
Yeah. But they'll have whole copy abilities just for bits like that, won't they?
Yeah, maybe, but I think it's like a little more generalized. Like you can use any power up in this particular level, because
I think
there's really
the main thing
nothing
that
stopping you from
I think
doing
the
that.
main thing that surprised me about it is the prevalency of, like, if you look back at the copy abilities of like Adventure, for instance, you'll see that quite a lot of abilities appear through quite a lot of the levels.
Yeah.
And they'll have little segments throughout all these levels, whereas something like high jump in the Return to Dreamland remake, that's barely coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun that it's back and got a moveset, and I do like me these modern Kirby movesets. But it has made me think about like the way they're designed and such. I think this game having its 12 abilities, while I wish there was more, and I've said as much, and I wish perhaps there was more moveset potential for some of them, of which they have the ability to do clearly. I think it is sort of a nice change of pace to I guess bring a focus on a select few and have quite a, have them appear throughout the game multiple times, have quite a few sections built for them. I mean, they have the treasure roads too, and it is another secret. Like I was saying, this world is full of all sorts of funny things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they're not completely devoid. Like, the modern games aren't completely devoid of that stuff, obviously, but it's just different, like the construction of their use throughout, of their use of the puzzles designed around them and all that, yeah.
Yeah. Philosophies have changed for sure. But I think that's just sort of a natural thing for when it comes to game design. When you start off, it's pretty. You can tell that some things, like in the first game, are like all over the place. Like they don't know quite what they want to do in the beginning. It's only until they do like other games, like sequels and stuff, that they get a good idea of what they want to do, and then at that point it's just, okay, we know what we want to do. How about we streamline that, and then we get like something like
Streamline it.
Where...
Well, streamline or perhaps expand in some cases, because sometimes an idea isn't fleshed out enough.
I think starting with Return to Dreamland on Wii, there was that sort of streamlining of Kirby, of like what makes the most sense for him to do, what can we do, what can we do better, that kind of thing. Because
I wouldn't say that, because when streamlined obviously means to make. Well, I think the idea for people when you say streamlined is to simplify things in a sense, simplify it in a way that makes cut out the fat, I guess. That might not be the dictionary definition, but I think that's the kind of idea you give when you talk about streamlining something in games. Especially as someone who's played, who's sort of into a lot of fighting games and such. You hear the words, if you hear the word, I've already forgotten the word. I just blanked.
Oh no.
What was the word again?
Streamline.
Streamline. That's it. I said simplify too much and I got confused. But whenever you hear the word streamline in, say, like the fighting game circle, you know, people get very,
Yeah.
very pessimistic or
Yeah.
very, they don't like that word very much.
I don't know. Kirby has some fighters. He's been in some fighting games before.
But I don't think it's.
It makes sense.
I'm not so sure. Like, what part of the Kirby modern Kirby experience when you say it's streamlined, do you mean specifically?
I mean like what do you mean? I guess in terms of streamline, I'm thinking more in lines of how the game is designed. Like everything's a lot more cleaner, I guess.
Okay, you might want to hold that thought for a second, because I don't think we've quite explained this power yet.
Oh yeah.
Time Crash! Now, Crash has the ability to stop time! Run through a bunch of objects and you'll have a destructive aura that will increase the amount of time is stopped for. I think it's this section specifically where I think is like the game wants you to have, Time Crash upgraded and such, because you have all that, you're running through it all to increase the time freeze. It's a really fun sort of upgrade to Crash, Gives it more
Especially
application than the
Treasure Road,
screen.
man.
Yeah, it gives it much more application than just a screen nuke, It gives you the ability, gives you the idea of like, well, can you keep the combo up? Can you keep time frozen for longer? It was really useful when I was using it for a specific. I used it for a specific boss to get the no damage thing, which we may see soon. Yeah, it's very useful for that. But
I don't think I've ever really done that. I like it. I like getting doing the legit way.
Yeah,
That's how I know.
That's
how I know I'm a true gamer.
I do whatever's easiest. Well, I do whatever I fancy. I did do all the time, like the times on the treasure road, so not complete casual.
Yeah.
But yeah. Before we return to that point, also with this subway level, once again more fun theming for Kirby. Like these level themes. Yeah. I know I think I explained perhaps rather badly in a previous episode how the way the levels are themed remind me more of Kirby 64, a game I have not played but have watched, than modern Kirby games, due to how characterful each individual level is, instead of like being, oh, it's level 1 or 2 of the grasslands. Although playing through some of the older Kirby games before we come back to this part, it's I may have given like some some of the modern games a little not enough credit when I sort of describe the way these levels feel to me. Because there's definitely themes throughout a bunch of the levels in Triple Deluxe or Robobot and Return to Dreamland as well. Obviously, there absolutely is. I think it's just that these are much more specifically designed. But being in the subway also, frozen water, getting us preventing Kirby from swimming as many ways as possible.
I think the previous game was the Star Allies, had a very classic mindset in terms of its level theming.
I actually played that I think before in between now and then I actually did a replay through of the story of that.
Oh really?
Yeah. It was interesting. It's definitely if you go into it expecting like the other three sort of in comparison to like Return to Dreamland, Triple Deluxe, Planet Robobot, it ultimately really isn't as similar as because if you go into it with that mindset, like I think most of us did, it's definitely not the way that game was envisioned. But I do think it has lots of merits, especially as I've said before, sort of a festival game.
You're not alone in that opinion.
I mean,
I've seen some videos of Star Allies saying that it's pretty good in its own right.
Yeah, it is pretty good in its own right. Not in a similar right to like the other Kirby games. Into the modern ones though. But I guess if we can segue that back into the streamlining discussion somehow.
Yeah. Well, in when I'm talking about streamlining, I'm mostly just thinking about like, uh, well, I guess I use streamlining because I don't know if there's like any other word to describe it, but it become like over time. If you have a franchise like that is as ongoing, like that has been going on for like several decades, like Kirby, Mario, Sonic, etc. There's going to be some kind of refinement. I think that's the word, refinement.
Refinement.
Refined.
Okay, because if you
Yeah.
I see, that might make, yeah, that might, I think I get what you're getting at there then. Because, like, if you said, for instance, that New Super Mario Brothers is a, I'm not very good at this. I've forgotten the word again. I'm not having it. I'm not having it good today.
Streamlined,
yeah.
refinement.
It's like no, the word keeps going like simplify. No, the word you're thinking of is simplify. No, it's not you, Joel. No. So, yeah, but streamlined.
You idiot!
But yeah, if you said like, oh, New Super Mario Brothers is a streamlined form of Super Mario Brothers 3 or World, you'd be like, I mean, technically, there are some ways you could say that. I think maybe with like power-ups or the world map system. But like, if you look at the Mario's gameplay, it's like what you're saying. You know, the Mario that can now triple jump, wall jump, ground pound is somehow more streamlined than the Mario 3 Mario. You're crazy. But if you say it's refinement,
yeah.
it's like, okay, I get it. Yeah, refinement makes sense.
It's I don't even know why my brain just goes to streamlined. I think it's because I've heard it so many times that it's just become a buzzword at that point.
Yeah, like a streamlined experience.
Like open world game, that kind of thing. Open RPG.
Kirby's
kind of thing.
Kirby's definitely had a lot of refinements throughout, you know, the ages.
Yeah.
It's went through a load of different phases actually, Kirby, when you sort of look into it, because obviously Kirby's Dream Land the first, no copy abilities, forget all that. But after Adventure, Adventure is its own thing, the start of it all. But then I think after that was Kirby's Dream Land 2, right? I think that would be
where they started refining it.
Well, no, this is sort of a discussion about evolution, and they refine the formula or evolve it in different ways and such, right? Because we've seen multiple ways so far that this game has evolved the Kirby formula and adapted it to 3D very nicely.
Yeah.
But older games like when it goes, for example, Kirby's Dream Land 2, a lot of copy abilities are removed, but now you have animal friends, and suddenly I think that's probably the introduction of like, ooh, copy abilities can also have variation based on the animal friend you're, attached to. And then I think after that would be Superstar, just in terms of mainline games and such.
Wait. Where does Dreamland 3 fit into this?
I think no, Dreamland 3 I think comes after Superstar, yeah.
Oh.
Or as it's known in here, by the way, in this country,
I'll look it up.
In this country, Kirby Superstar was actually called Kirby's Fun Pack. That's a little tidbit for you. But Superstar, had it's like, all right, copy abilities. Now they've got all these move sets and such, and I think they did very well with those particular copy abilities for Superstar. Obviously, some of the adventure copy abilities were melded into each other, like fire and burning or ice and freeze.
Okay, I have a release timeline of the Kirby franchise, and you are correct. Dreamland 3 comes after Superstar.
There's a simple way of remembering that too.
By like 2 years.
There's a simple way of remembering that for me as well, is that with Star Allies, the Dream Friends are sort of ordered in release order. Well, besides like Bandana D, King DDD, and Meta Knight, the rest of them they're all in. So it would be Rick Cannon Marks, then Gooey. That's our. That's an easy one.
I'm looking at this. This wiki page.
By the way,
they got like they broke it up into like years and decades. Like 1992 to 1999 is like the conception in the first games.
Hmm.
2000
What are you
is
trying
the
to
introduction to 3D graphics.
What are you trying to
that
do
kind of
here,
thing.
by the way? You were trying to go backwards there in this section.
Oh shit, I missed it. I was too busy.
Very low on health.
Look, I consider myself a historian of games, a game historian. Thank you.
I don't think I mentioned this about Needle yet, but as we see in this section, you can actually use Needle to avoid harsh winds. So yeah, when you're stuck to the ground, you won't be blown around a bunch when you're in Needle form.
I think earlier what I was trying to do is that I think I missed something and
trying to
I wanted
backtrack,
to go get it.
and you're having difficulty.
I was trying to backtrack. Yeah.
Mind you, when
I don't think it was anything like necessary. I think it was just like, ooh, I wanted the piece of candy, but the candy is like too far out of reach.
If it was something important like a
Like-
Waddle Dee, you could have just died and respawned back at the start of it.
Well, it wasn't the first one, so I don't think I have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Need them sleeping.
I think I like this level. Like I don't really think about like what levels do I like immediately, but I think I very much like this level
I have only
a lot, mainly because of the focus of Spike.
I've only played this game once so far, and that was probably when it came out, so it's been quite a while. So that's why obviously my commentary's been a little foggier, and I've not perhaps talked about the level design quite as much as perhaps I should when we do the commentary. But yeah, I do think the level design's real cool actually in this game, and it's definitely I think every level is stand out in some way, and the missions I think do help flesh him out a lot as well. You can design special segments for those kind of missions and all that.
Yeah, like from what I remember of like older games is that older games, like when I was growing up, they always have like that one level or that one thing that is just frustrating beyond belief. Like,
right.
I don't know what that is, but like I think like it's, for some it maybe like in Sonic Heroes, like it would be like Rail Canyon or Bullet Station. You know, given how focused on rail grinding those two levels are.
Yeah.
Or like I don't know if Kirby has that kind of had that kind of thing, like that one level or that one challenge that was hard for no reason.
I'm sure if you ask around, everyone will have their own little story on that with Kirby. Somewhere, probably, you know.
Oh wait, I think I remember like one thing. It was actually an adventure.
Oh yeah.
In Adventure, I think the game required you to like required you to get copy abilities from like previous levels for another level, because like the one level that had a cannon in the level had didn't have the fire ability.
Oh, interesting.
So
I
could
could
go to another level or a museum.
I could try and look that up on when I play Adventure again on the Switch. I mean, I was thinking, isn't there like something in Kirby 64? Doesn't that have a few levels like that? Because that game has the.
Oh yeah.
Also, a difference, by
like...
the way, with with the sort of the construction of levels and copy abilities and such, is that in older games, they may not have immediately. There may have been a few instances where they didn't immediately give you the power you needed. Because in modern Kirby games, it's like, all right, you need a certain ability for this puzzle. It's right over here. It's right here. There you go. And do the puzzle now.
Yeah.
And it is helpful to avoid sort of backtracking and all that jazz. But I'm sure there is some other cooler ways to do it as well.
Yeah. So I just want to bring up that this is the point where I start panicking.
Because you killed that one.
Yeah. I realized that I didn't bring the fire ability, and I really needed it right here. So
well, there's one further down if you could, just
yeah, and
inhale
I think
him,
you can.
come back.
I think you can like run up like against the wind, but it's gonna take a while.
Yeah.
And then I just see that.
Yeah. Ooh, shiny. I wonder if you'll.
But I didn't.
You could have. I wonder if the burning attack would have been faster, or if that would have been slower because of the jumping and all that.
I wasn't really gonna test that because I think because since you're in the air, the wind will get you go further more. Like you'll go farther more in the wind. So I didn't take a chance.
Yeah.
All right, so lit the flame, and it just shows me. It just showed me where the.
This way,
was.
dumbass. Well, hey, you might need the torch later on, so no biggie.
Yeah. Geez, sorry about that.
But yeah, like there was. I mean, for example, there was a torch right there. There was a fire copy ability. I mean, I'm not going to say that. Oh no, it that oversimplifies the series too much, because that's, you know, like, oh, if only they had more levels where you had to go to a different level to get your copy of it. Like, I'm not saying that at all.
I think the reason why I had like a bad, or not I don't think it's bad, but like that I didn't like the idea of like taking a copy ability from another level or a museum and adventure to another level was that a lot of the time you had to like finish the level you're in order and stuff like that, because I'm not even sure if you can like quit the level if you have the ability and you'll still have it.
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
So and a lot of times that like most of the time it's you have to like go over to the level, do the thing you have to do, complete the level in order to retain said item or ability or whatever. Like that's like a thing that happens a lot in older games, so I kind of just assumed that.
I'm trying to think, because I can't remember. If I remember correctly, actually, now I think about it, I think I remember the section you're talking about in Kirby's Adventure. I think, anyway. This might be rubbish, but
I'm sure there's like multiple of those.
I think.
Like,
I mean, there is one other section I can think of in particular, but that the section is I think, what is it? There's a cannon at the first screen of the level, but there's no fire enemies around. But I think that cannon is like takes you only to the area with like 1-ups and stuff. So there's no like none of the switches in that game are behind areas like that. I don't think. Instead, I think I mean, I could be wrong, but I think it's like a reward for like, oh, you had this ability. Here's some, here's some 1-ups and stuff. Could be. That would be a better designed way of doing things, I suppose. It's something interesting to think about, because I think certainly having like, oh, the ability's right here, and the puzzle you need the ability for is right next to it. Some of it's too easy, but I think having it the opposite, like, oh, you need to go through this volcano level. Oh, but guess what? Near the middle of it, you also need fire and ice combined to break this one block. But we didn't give you any ice. Sorry, bird. Something like that. That's Kirby 64, I think. But that's that, and I agree that's stupid. I think Kirby, I think challenges like that could do with maybe some work, maybe some evolution of their own.
Well, now that we're talking about it, I'm beginning to think that Kirby had it better than a lot of other games. Because when I think of like really hard challenges for no reason, I'm usually thinking about like, Jak and Daxter with like Jak 2 with the turret.
It's funny.
Sections
just saw a video on Jak
that.
and Daxter recently.
Oh really?
Yeah, but that's the end of the part. Next part, we move on to a nice looking bridge.
Yep. Take care, everyone.
Take care.